All right, the Chargers make another smart move. If you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but this channel fully dedicated to the Chargers. And so if you're a Chargers fan, kind of give you an outsider's look into your team. Okay, here it is. First thing they did, you know it by now, but it's so huge. Mekhi Becton, 6'7", 363 pounds, started all 19 games for the Eagles. Best season of his career, and you get this guard for 2 years, $20 million. It's perfect because you're just not committed to anything, because it just feels like he could be great, maybe not. If he's great, we'll reward him again with another contract. In that time, the salary cap will go up. We'll know what we've got. We don't have to lock into too much. I just think it's a very good deal for both sides. Awesome. I mean, that's what you were looking for. There it was, a couple days after we would hoped for it, but you get your much-needed interior offensive lineman. The next move that they make, and here's the next move that's like, yep, this was good, was they sign former Raven and Texan Del'Shawn Phillips to a 1-year deal. This seems, let me go to it here. This wraps up the linebacker room. So now you've got a I'll get back to it in just a second, but he's a special teams ace. And by the way, let me know your favorite move so far. Again, I know it's not early, but it's also, there's a lot more that's going to happen. But so far, what have you liked? All right, Del'Shawn, we'll get back to him in just a second. But what it does is it wraps up the linebacker room. I think the more position groups that you can have just pretty much solidified going into the draft, it's so much nicer. It's like we just don't mentally have to think about the linebacker room. Yes, if there's a really good player, we want to add talent, fine. But it's not like, oh, shoot, we got nobody here. We got to do something. The linebacker room's set. So the Chargers lost an important member of special teams unit at linebacker and brought one right back in. He's the most experienced special teams player in free agency and should fit in really nicely. Not a needle mover, but a good signing nonetheless. Here's what I've noticed is, yes, these guys are not going to carry you to the Super Bowl. But what I think they do is they provide depth at linebacker, and then special teams I think it just continues to be very, very important, and they're so locked in that you don't see mistakes anymore, and you see really good coverage. So you got to have one of those. If you don't, it's a game changer. Someone gets loose, scores a punt return on you. It's like, okay. So it's like, let's just don't forget about special teams. It's not nothing. So I think Del'Shawn Phillips, great ad from the Texans. Let me see if I saw this right, where he ended up playing. He's played a lot. I mean, really, since he's played for the Bills, Jets, Ravens, Falcons. Now the Chargers. So I love it. Here's what I wanted to show you about him is special teams ace, where he's led his team in special team snaps 3 out of the last 4 seasons. He's played a lot of football, and he's active. PFF had him the 5th best special teams grade in 2021. He can do all special teams. So again, huge. Let's go back to this where basically grading, and I'll just I think this is interesting. They're grading all the free agency moves up to this point. Re-signing Khalil Mack, A+. I think so. It's just, you can't find anyone better than him at his age and that role, the money that you had, 1 year. Give us one more, man. A+. Najee Harris, I think that's a B, is perfect. I think he gives you a new juice, but he's just not super awesome. Is he a new running back? Yes. Is that exciting? Yes, but he's just not super awesome. Mike Williams, think a B+. Yep. I like that. This is an A+++. I mean, come on. That's your guard. That's your interior offensive lineman you were looking for. And then a couple of secondary players that I don't know. I think Dante Jackson's better than D+, but I think St. Juiced right here. I mean, just couldn't get on the field for the Commanders last year. Struggled. So hopefully he's somebody. I've done a video on Deshaun Hand. Deshaun Hand, defensive tackle, is on the upswing. He's older, but he's just like on the upswing of his career. He's had injuries, he battled, but he has played consistently here last couple of years. I think it's really, really important. And I just talked about Delshon Phillips as well. I think that's, really, really solid. So, again, let me know your thoughts in the comments, your favorite move so far, because if you're a Chargers fan, you've got a lot of money to spend in free agency, but I don't think that's the only thing. You've got a lot of draft picks. You're going to sign those guys. There's moves that can be made even into training camp, things like that. So be patient with it. That your team is really built with a good quarterback, good coach, check. And then how well you draft. And that is why almost every Chargers video we pull this up right here, because it's huge. It's the lifeblood of franchises and keeping them going. And so for you to have this many picks is really cool. And it's exactly what it's going to take to keep and sustain what you've built here in just a year. Jim Harbaugh, now with a power running back, a new interior offensive lineman, a defense that was good last year, infused these picks. You can see right here, a tight end, an edge, a running back, a wide receiver, another offensive lineman, and it's like, okay, free agency is such a, I don't know, you see bad teams acquiring expensive players is what you see, and it's exciting, and you give them big numbers, and if you're a fan of that team, you're like, let's go, baby. We're throwing some money around this offseason, and it just never works. So it's smart. It's manageable for the Chargers. It's fun covering them. Again, if you're new to the channel, you're kind of like, why are you doing this? We're Harbaugh fans, but it's fun to cover them because there's so many similarities between them and the Lions. The Lions did the same thing. It was what looked as like, what are we doing? Let's get some guys. And we would sign 1-year deals to kind of nobodies and kind of guys that are like, man, he's not bad. Just like Delshon Phillips, right? Just kind of a good special teams player, just gritty. And you saw him build through the draft and hit on the draft. I mean, the one draft was there's 2 drafts that Brad Holmes has had that's just out of this world, and that's why the Lions are really talented and really good. They were patient in free agency and drafted out of this world for a couple years, and it's like, man, there you go. And they won 15 games last year. So it's fun to see the comparisons and see how similar they are. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see all of you on the next one.